Hello and welcome. You're watching Left, Right and Centre. I'm Nidhi Razdan. What is it about the Aam Aadmi Party that it runs into controversy almost every other day? Arvind Kejriwal's battles with Delhi's Lieutenant Governor and the centre are now stuff of legend. His ministers and MLAs too have made headlines for many of the wrong reasons. And now he sacked his third minister, Sandeep Kumar, for a sex tape. Kumar said he's not on the tape and that he's being targeted for being a Dalit. Kejriwal says that he acted as soon as he got the CD, while other questions are being raised about what exactly is the crime that Kumar has committed. Once again, AAP is in the headlines for all the wrong reasons.
और ये बिल्कुल जो ना मैं इसमें नहीं हूँ और बिल्कुल तथ्यहीन चीज है। सबसे पहली बात तो ये खामियाजा मुझे भुगतना पड़ा दलित होने का।
पार्टी बंद कर देंगे, मर जाएंगे, मिट जाएंगे, गलत काम से कभी समझौता नहीं करेंगे। तो कोई क्या करेगा अपने बेटे के बारे में नहीं पता कि बेटा बड़ा होके क्या करेगा, गलत काम करेगा नहीं करेगा, किसी का क्या भरोसा।
Is this Indian politics' new morality drama? In a video and separate stills, the former minister is seen with two separate women, though he denies it. Sources close to Sandeep Kumar say that these are 6 to 7 years old, filmed during his college days. With these visuals now going public and political parties are on dharnas against the Aam Aadmi Party government.
For anything that you will always ask Mr. Kejriwal a question, he'll always blame Prime Minister Modi or the BJP. So is the BJP responsible for the sex life of the minister and a scandal in which he's involved?
Well, he is not the first minister against whom such action is being taken. He is the third in the row.
However, the larger question is, what is the crime Sandeep Kumar is guilty of? If it's consensual, he hasn't violated any law. So far, neither the women in the video nor his wife have complained. So, is this a new moral benchmark being set up by political parties, or is this a classic case of political doublespeak?
The Aam Aadmi Party's defence today was, what about Abhishek Singhvi and Nihal Chand, till recently a minister in the government?
मुझे गर्व है कि हमने दूसरी पार्टियों की तरह उसके ऊपर पर्दा डालने की कोशिश नहीं की, उनकी गलत हरकतों पे पर्दा डालने की कोशिश नहीं की।
Well, in case of Abhishek Manu Singhvi ji, he immediately stepped down as spokesperson, and also he was the chairperson of a parliamentary committee. He immediately stepped down. And similarly, in the case of N.D. Tiwari, he was immediately asked to step down, and that was the end of his political career.
In Indian politics, unlike United States, private lives of politicians are mainly off limits as long as it doesn't interfere with his public duties. However, in this age of 24/7 scrutiny and cameras now even in the bedroom, this perhaps is set to change. With camera person Sachin Gupta, I'm Sonal Mehrotra for NDTV. Joining us on the program tonight, Ashish Khaitan of the Aam Aadmi Party, from the BJP, Nalin Kohli. We have Sabha Naqvi and Sunil Alagh joining us as commentators this evening. Ashish, my question to you first. What is the illegality in what Sandeep Kumar has done?
If you go by the law of the land, there is absolutely no illegality. There is no complaint by any of those persons who allegedly feature in those tapes. But Aam Aadmi Party and its constitution is very clear that there are 3 C's which are non-negotiable as far as membership of Aam Aadmi Party is concerned, which is crime, corruption and character. And I know that character is a vague term and it means different things to different people. But for a minister for women and child welfare, to have these kind of allegations against him in public domain, where he is seen on a tape in a position with other women, then his position becomes untenable. And that's the point that the message that the party has sent out, that this is unacceptable. Is unacceptable conduct. The probity demands that if you are in public life, then there are certain standards that you have to live by. Legality and illegality are irrelevant in this regard.
But is it a new kind of moral policing that is taking place, where if now we have to go into the details of this CD, of course, Ashish, and it's different if there was any kind of coercion or anything like that was involved. But if this was consensual between consenting adults, is this a new line that's being crossed, where political parties are now, and political leaders are taking to moral policing members of their party, their ministers? Because if you go across party lines, then it opens up a Pandora's box.
Nidhi, you are absolutely right. It does open up a Pandora's box, and the Pandora's box is already out there in the open, because if you look at Nihal Chand, if you look at Raghav ji, if you look at Abhishek Manu Singhvi, ND Tiwari, all other political parties, mainstream parties like Congress and BJP have had such sex scandals and tapes where they were found in compromising position with in different situations. But as far as Aam Aadmi Party is concerned, we have set a different yardstick for ourselves. This is a yardstick which everyone agrees upon when he joins the party. So we cannot quibble and complain that, look, why are we being subjected to different standards? Difficult questions will be asked of us because we ask probing questions of other political parties and of the system. When we are the chief questioner and inquirer, then inquiry and questions will also be made of us, and we have to live by a higher standard of probity and morality. In public life, because that's the new standard that we are trying to set.
So you're making it clear that even the private conduct of an AAP politician will come under scrutiny because these are politicians in public life. That is the AAP's position. Nalin Kohli, how does the BJP see that? Arvind Kejriwal's argument is he got the CD, he acted on it, he thinks it was the right thing to do. What does the BJP say?
This is going to be in two parts. The first part is related to Sandeep Kumar, the second part is to the Aam Aadmi Party. So first on Sandeep Kumar. I have not seen the CD, but what I gather is it possibly is a trio, and whatever has happened on that CD has happened in a personal space. Now immediately to arrive at a conclusion that there is no illegality is not correct, because we don't know. It depends on who the women are. Are they colleagues? Are they people from the same organizational setup in terms of him discharging his function as a minister? Are they professionals who might be in an illicit trade? Now these are questions that only eventually could get answered, and therefore each one has a separate set of implications. Beyond that, the matter of adultery would be between him, his wife, whose feet he claims he touches every day.
Correct.
And that he said that publicly on 8th of March, which is International Women's Day. So this is between him, his wife, the women in the CD and God, and then the law enforcement agencies if someone complains. But adultery is just one part of it. It could be prostitution, it could be something worse. We don't know. The second part is that he says that, I'm a Dalit. I think that's a ridiculous argument. Why drag in your caste? Why try to hide behind your caste?
I agree
if you have had sex with somebody and you're caught on a TV, you have recorded it yourself apparently, as at least the first clip which television channels have shown, then you pay the price for it. You don't have to drag in your caste and make it seem as if there's a larger picture or a larger story here. Now related to the Aam Aadmi Party. The Aam Aadmi Party, I think you need to see it in totality. What the Aam Aadmi Party and Mr. Kejriwal went at great pains to consistently say is, we are a separate political party with a separate standard. We will look at everything, do a background check of everyone, and ensure only the best possible come. And we've seen 3 examples of ministers and the best possible that have come. One has gone for forgery and a fabricated degree, one for a sex scam, and one for corruption. All 3. Now, if you recall, their own founding members had said that you are not following any system, you are taking any Tom, Dick and Harry, you have compromised with the so-called ideals we have professed, and they were thrown out of the party. The so-called Lokpal mechanism was disbanded.
So you're saying there is a double, you're saying there's a double standard. You're saying there's a double standard because they claim to have higher standards, and then
It's not that. They have not stuck to any standard. And they are entitled not to stick to any standard, but they can't then pretend and say that, we've got this moral high position and, nothing. All that was talk. It was a showcase for an election. After that, they've done exactly opposite to whatever they professed.
Okay.
So their politics
so there are 2 parts to this argument.
Certainly.
Sunil Alagh, how do you see it? First on the CD itself. And the question we're asking about whether this, is a new kind of morality in political space that we're seeing. On the CD itself first and then on AAP.
I think on the CD, as far as I'm concerned, there is no need for anybody to resign or leave if you've got consenting adults and you're going ahead and having it. So unless, of course, that lady is working for him, and we've all learnt in our systems that you must not ever, get involved with people who are involved in your work, or you're doing favors for them, or they are expecting favors out of you, which is political. And therefore, as we don't know the real reasons, but my worry about AAP is exactly what Nalin has said, is that they've set standards, and there's been reports that Mr. Kejriwal knew about this about 4 or 5 days ago, although they say we got the CD and within 1 hour we've done it. There's a lot of debate on that issue itself, and therefore let's wait and get caught. So the fourth C that AAP is adding, and he talked about 3C, is the let's see. Let's see if we get into any trouble, then we'll get out of it. But as far as we are concerned, look, this is accepted of all political parties, and before you get into RSS did it, BJP did it, Congress did it, well, they are parties which are there. Mr. Modi has only come in and said, I will stop corruption. So for the last 2.5 years, nobody has been able to raise one voice against any of his central ministers, and I'm using the word central specifically. That is what he controls directly. Now the day you start finding corruption over there, then again Mr. Modi will be questioned. How have you appointed someone who's corrupt? Now this is going to go on and on, but AAP has set standards which are wrong. They are always saying that I've got to blame someone else for everything. I mean, my people, we are working very well, we are not allowed to work, we are not allowed to do this, ban that, go on the roads. And that, I think, is great to catch the attention of people, but sooner than later people are going to get wiser unless you actually perform.
That's an important point, and Sabah Naqvi is with us, and Sabah, I want to take off from that point that Sunil raised, that is the AAP in a sense the victim of its own politics.
Yeah,
One second,
Ashish.
I just want Sabah's first comment on this. Is AAP the victim of its own politics and the kind of standards it has set? Are they unreal that you expect every person in your party to be of a clean character? In whatever terms those are defined, background checks, and we've seen they've had problems with many legislators and several ministers. Sabah.
What you're saying is true, Nidhi, but specifically on the matter of the sex tape, on the one hand I understand that it looks really bad in the public eye when Minister for Child and Women Development or the department which is under him is caught. But there is another issue here which I am deeply uncomfortable with this whole debate, because unless there is a criminal complaint by the women or by his wife, I mean, how has the party acted so quickly on something which needs to be criminally investigated? And like we've said, we've had sex scandals in the past. AAP has very quickly gotten rid of him. They've dignified a sex scandal, they've dignified a sex CD. I'm also deeply troubled, Nidhi, by the fact that channels don't seem to have any boundaries in now playing sex CDs. Is there not a violation of personal space unless we have some information that there is corruption and there is some coercion involved? Is he having sex with children? There's no way I'm going to watch it. Is he doing something illegal as Nalin Kohli mentioned? Beyond that, this whole episode, we've had sex scandals before, but have we played them out on national TV? I've received sex tapes of various politicians. In those days, did we play them out on television? So I'm asking you these questions because there are lots of things that happen, and this kind of morality that you have to be of good character, bad character. I think people's personal sex lives should be kept out of the expectation of them being non-corrupt, good leaders, good parliamentarians, and there are umpteen instances of a very ambiguous personal life of people who have made terrific politicians. And I'm not at all talking about this gentleman who I'd never heard of till this scandal broke.